straight losses
Georgia
on the
played
West Coast
against.
playing
You know
this
what the
season.
funny thing is?
They
You called
they
that. If
employ
you
their
saw
three tight ends
a
which
previous
they didn't
show
do
or
against
and
their
show
tight
before
ends
that,
like Dale did
super
definitely
human
said
monsters. They're like
Yeah.
that they can go
6'7",
0-5.
6'5".
Good morning, everybody. We are the Talking Hats coming at you on this Saturday morning, coming at you from Colorado. Harish is out there in Northern Virginia, just outside DC. We've got a long list of topics to go through today. Before we get into any of that, I just want to make a big announcement here. Some great news. I'm not sure if Harish checked on the email, but I put that in there. I didn't really want you to see it. I wanted it to be a surprise that we finally got a hosting platform. All of our shows, all the shows that I have on my computer are now uploaded to Spotify. So you can find the Talking Hats on Spotify now for your listening pleasure.
Oh,
That's right. We can call ourselves a podcast now. We've been calling ourselves a podcast, and we've only been on YouTube, but now we're officially hosted on Spotify. So as you're driving along in your car, you can pull us up. You don't have to watch. You can save your battery there, get Spotify going on your Bluetooth, and check us out. We'll be there. All of our shows from here on out will be on there. So yeah, go ahead and check us out. Spread the word. We are officially a podcast. So yeah, that's big news. Clap it up, clap it up.
I am flabbergasted because I was trying to get that. Like we were trying to do that for the longest time, and I don't know what to say right now. I'm just like, holy cow!
Yeah, man. We are now the Talking Hats podcast.
How did we do it? Like I mean, because right now I'm just like how did we? Because I know Spotify has a waiting list, but I didn't know if there was like a workaround for that.
See, I just kind of stumbled upon it. I heard about Spotify video, so I was just playing around looking into that, and in my digging around on that one, I figured out how to go ahead and get the shows uploaded. So I went ahead and took care of all of that. So yeah, big news, big news.
That's huge. That's a great way to start a Saturday morning.
Pretty cool, yeah. So, like I said, we've got a long list of stuff to go down. I'll kick it over you to go ahead and get us started, and we can go back and forth on everything that's going on here.
Yeah, so let's. I want to take a few minutes out to give some solidarity to the stuff that's happening in Ukraine right now. I mean, I know I don't get too political or anything like that, but there are some players from around the world that are playing in the NBA, and their families who are from Ukraine are getting a struggle with that. It's here nor there. I just wanted to take a few minutes out of our show to be like, like what's happening is unjust, and we need to like stand with the Ukrainian people to say that this is not the way to go about things. There's other means to do it. So from the Talking Hats podcast, officially on Spotify, you heard it right here, that we are in solidarity with the Ukrainian people. So hopefully hope there can be a resolution, a safe resolution, even though we've heard a lot of news that's coming out. It's not that's not savory for us this morning, but here nor there, let's.
Definitely, I'd like to say a little bit about that too. Ovi and pretty much all the Russian hockey players have been getting bombarded with questions. Pardon the vernacular there. They've been getting hammered with questions here lately regarding the whole conflict, and they're kind of, I mean, they love their country. Ovi in particular has campaigned for Putin, so it's tough for him to really. He may be 100% against this, like most Russian people are. The Russian citizens are nobody's pro-war. I mean, come on, that's easy. It's easy to come on and say you're pro-war. Who's going to say, "Oh, I love war"? Nobody's going to do that. But Ovi's in a really tough situation. He came out yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. He got interviewed. And it was the day before because that's when they played. So it was the day before. He came out in an interview and he was saying, I'm against war. I just want the world to be at peace. And he can't really say much. No matter, he can't really give his true thoughts of whether he's pro or against it because his family's in Russia. So if he says the wrong thing, they're going to bear the brunt of his words. So I feel bad for those guys. Of course, I'm with you on what you said about Ukraine as well. Obviously anti-war. I don't even like guns like that. So I'm totally against war. I hate what's going on. I feel like there's always a better way to resolve your issues and what's going on. So yeah, I won't get to. Definitely have some thoughts on all this. Maybe we can. I don't know if you want to do a different recording at some point off this network about it. But we keep it sports here, but I definitely have some thoughts on what's going on, and it sucks. I'll just leave it at that.
but yeah, let's let's liven up the mood a little bit
Yeah.
and kind of talk. See, I have a big beef with any All-Star game. Like that's just me personally because it's not how it was
Well, before
when
we
we
get
were
into the
growing
business
up.
of sports, I just, we haven't even talked all week really. I just wanted to catch up and see, what's been going on in your world.
Hey, that's fine. I mean, that's
Yeah,
fine. 'Cause
man,
I
what's
thought
going on?
we were going to talk a little bit of the NBA and go back, but it's okay. So I have to say, getting old sucks. Um, I was in the
Tell me about
restroom,
it.
I was in the restroom doing my thing, and then I was trying to reach for something. Then my lower back, uh, I couldn't move for 2 days
Yeah.
because when I played, I got clipped right back in the good old days, and that injury has never healed properly. So if I when you move your body and it hits that sweet spot, it hit that sweet spot, and ever since then, I'm putting icy hot. I took ibuprofen this morning. I may have to go to the doctor soon if it doesn't get any better. But
So 2 weeks ago, I like bent over to move one of my boys' toys or something like that, not lifting anything, just moving it. And when I stood back up, that same thing, my back was just like, not
I,
having this. And for like a week, I was it was just locked up. I don't know what's going on. I never even had a back injury. It's just like you said, it's just old age, man. So, but
did you take ibuprofen or anything to
no,
loosen up the muscle?
no, I used to take ibuprofen like candy back in the day when I was playing sports and stuff. When I was playing flag football and basketball all the time, I used to take it to, relieve the pressure on my knees and all that. But I don't really take anything anymore. I expect the pain in my old age, and I just deal with it and wait it out. It goes away
Yeah,
eventually.
I never like it rarely happens to me that I'm knocked out like that. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't even bend down. Like I usually when you wake up in the morning, you have like you have a little bit of soreness and everything, but boy, like I rubbed on icy hot. I rubbed on like as much as I could. I was like, you know what? I got to go for the pills. I'm not. I don't like to
I
take
hear
any
you.
medicine. But I was like, even today, like I thought it was going to heal up because when I took it, I was like, why isn't the ibuprofen kicking in? Within like 3 hours, like, okay, there it is. I can feel it now. But
Yeah.
when the day kind of went by, I'm like, oh God, it's cramping up again. So this morning, I'm like, all right, I gotta take some more. I took one
I hear
pill.
you. Like I said, I
So,
hear you. I can relate. Uh,
but
Anything else going
besides
on
that,
with y'all this week? Nothing else. Y'all
man,
staying at the house all week like we usually do.
like I get yelled at for like not taking out or anything, and I'm like, yeah, okay, you get the earful, and you're like, you got to do something.
Well, with the weather being, I don't know how the weather is out there. It's been frigid this week.
Mhm.
But this week coming up, we're going to be in the 60s all week, so we'll get out of the house here this
Yeah,
week.
we started exercising again a little bit for the last
Sweet.
couple of 2 weeks. So I mean, we take it from you and Reina. We are just like you guys are like our motivation. I mean, we couldn't do it for couple of days because of my back,
Mhm.
but like you guys are like our inspiration to like to like
See,
get
you
back into.
you might be getting inspired by my words, but not my actions, because I certainly have not been exercising here.
Dude,
But
listen.
but our gym member, see, I put our gym membership on hold for a month because with us traveling back and forth and getting settled in, I knew I wouldn't have time to get in there. But that's being reactivated next week. So from here on out, and I said by my anniversary, I want to be back to the wedding weight, and that's at the end of next month. So
Mhm.
it's balls to the wall here. Once this gym membership kicks back in, I'm going
Yeah.
all in diet and exercise. I'm going to be ripped. And what is it?
Yep.
Just over a month now. Watch.
Yeah, for all you people who don't know, Dale is a very he's a very strong individual. He's a 5'7",
Hey,
like
give me my extra inch there.
5'8".
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
5'8".
How dare you? How dare
sorry,
you?
sorry, because you and Artie's because Artie's like 5'3", so 5'4". Hope she's not listening. And I'm 6'1". So I mean, my ideal height was 6'5". So I kind of like
Well, either
sometimes
way,
I
you're
don't.
looking down on us anyway. I mean, I'm
No,
sure it's hard
no,
to
no,
judge.
nothing like
I'm sure it's
that.
hard to judge
No.
the height of the Smurfs down here.
Well,
You
no,
know.
but Dale. If you see Dale in person, if anybody has ever seen him, he is a pocket Hercules. He is a pocket Hercules. He
Now I'm
is
more of a pocket bowling ball, but give me,
no,
like I
no.
said, give me the month. By the end of the month, I'll be back to myself, looking like I
Yes,
play. You know.
he. If anybody has not seen Dale's old picture, boy, I tell you, whew, if I, who he
I
was a
have
looker.
I have a picture of I never got into that taking those shirtless selfies and all that, but
Oh,
when there was a picture when I was at my absolute peak. I was like, hey, I gotta save this moment because who knows? And I took a picture then, and I look like seriously a player. So just want to put
yeah.
that out there.
I have to see that picture because I've never seen.
You
that
want to
picture.
see a shirtless selfie?
Why not, dude? Like it's like you go to the beach, everybody has their shirt off except
true.
for me.
This is a
I just have
judgment-free
tank
zone.
top. No, it will take me a good solid year. I mean, I can get my muscle back and my muscle tension within by then, but I got to work on a lot of other. My man pecs are not man pecs anymore. So,
Yep. So yeah, our week we pretty much stayed in the house too. We went to a birthday party last weekend for one of Raina's friends. Her little daughter had a 3-year-old birthday party, so Xander got to play around and run around this little kids center. It's like kind of like an indoor playground. That was fun.
Oh, nice.
Ran into some people we haven't seen in a few years that we know out here.
Nice.
It was good to catch up and all that. So that was fun. During the week, we went out for Raina's birthday. Again, we've been doing that because birthday month is kind of how it works for her. So catching up on all that stuff, and just overall busy week with work and all that. But yeah, so we can go ahead and get into the sports stuff here now.
Before I do, today's my nephew's 2-year-old. He turned 2 today. So happy birthday, Thurun. If you guys, from the Talking Hats, Dale and I want to wish our sincere happy birthday for turning 2. And
happy birthday, little man.
Yeah, I hope we can see you guys soon with all this pandemic stuff. Hopefully in the next like couple of months we can come down and celebrate.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He's the cutest little guy.
Yeah. and just for anybody who doesn't know, Dale's son and my nephew are only like 2 months apart. So they kind of like I wouldn't say grown up together. It's just almost like video chatting, but
yeah, they've been FaceTiming since very early on.
Yeah.
So like you said, Xander will be 2 here in May. So yeah.
Right. But yeah, so let's do you want to get into the all-star poo-poo thing that I kind of like I'm so fed up with the all-star game. Like I'm just done with it.
Well, the weekend in general, I mean, the 3-point contest is always fine. I'm a shooter, so I look forward more to that than the dunk contest and all that stuff. But the dunk contest in prior years, not here lately, but back in the day, especially with Jordan and Dominique and all superstars participating, that was the height of the contest. Here lately, like LeBron has never done it. No names do it anymore. The biggest name this year, I mean, I guess Obi Toppin, since he's a Knick, I don't know, but there were no real names in it. It was a disaster, boring, no excitement, boring dunks. Like it seemed like the guys, I mean, these are high flyers in games. It seems like they forgot how to jump. I don't know what was going on. Lead in their shoes or something. It was a disgrace, disaster. I think to get superstars to participate, you kind of gotta incentivize them or something. With the golfers, they pay these guys appearance fees, so maybe explore something like that to get the names to participate. Something needs to change or get rid of it. If you've got guys who can't jump and there are no names out there participating, nobody wants to watch that. Come on now. What are your thoughts on that crap? First and foremost.
Okay. I'm like, this is probably the worst dunk contest I have ever seen in recent memory. I would put it. Even the old school all-star like Shaq was like, what am I watching here?
I'd rather watch Shaq as he is now dunk than those guys.
I mean, heck, he can stand there and just dunk and make a face with like Papa John's. Like, you want Papa John's? Like, I mean,
disaster.
That would be more entertaining. See, the thing is, I think like LeBron I think LeBron derailed the NBA dunk contest. That's just my personal opinion.
By not participating?
Yeah, 100%. Like John Wall won it in his, I think, rookie year or the.
It was early
after?
on. It was within, I think, his first 3 years, somewhere in there.
Years. Kobe did the dunk contest. I mean, these individuals who are not known for like leaping ability or I'm not gonna say they're not because they're built on high flyers. Kobe and God rest in peace, and then John Wall. But you're a superstar. Right. And if you're a superstar, you're not going to get hurt by dunking a basketball. I mean, it depends on what you're going to do or how you do it. But at the end of the day, you're an attraction that people want to see. and that's dollars in people's pockets. Like people don't spend All-Star weekend to go see other things. They want to go see the dunk contest, the 3-point contest, the skills. Even the game is not even that fun, you know. I mean,
this might be completely out of left field, and I'm really just talking out of my hat. LeBron, I think he never participated because I feel like he was afraid to be judged. When you're in the
contest, you are being judged.
I know, and I think he because in games he puts up some highlight dunks, even when he was young, especially. If you watch his highlights when he was young, he was putting in dunk contest dunks. I think he was afraid to try to come up with something creative enough to get he was maybe afraid to lose because it's tough to be creative and come up with things. I mean, it feels like everything's already been done. So when you're thinking about stuff like that, maybe he was afraid of that. Maybe that's why other superstars don't participate because it's hard to be creative anymore because everything has been done. I don't know. Just speculation on my part.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like, it needs to be it has to have the what is that called? Like, you need to be creative. Like, if you're not creative in something, then it kind of shows you like you're kind of stale. And that's what's happening now to the All-Star game. I mean, the All-Star game is stale. I like the 3-point I actually like the skills competition. That's actually pretty fun, you know.
It was cool to see the Antetokounmpo brothers out there. That was pretty sweet. You got three brothers in the NBA. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yes, 3. Oh, wow.
Well, okay. The 3 of them.
You're including him, right? Yeah. But wow, that's a very well family. Then if they're all 3, I don't think they're all like his. I don't think the other 2 are like Giannis, though, right?
No, the other 2 don't play. And somebody, I was listening to somebody this week that said that they have the best job security in the league because they're going to be in the league as long as Giannis is, because at least one of them. Because the Bucks, if they want to keep Giannis, they feel like that to keep his brother around. If it wasn't for Giannis, I don't know that them dudes are in the league. I don't know. They're tall, so who knows? But they never play. So
that's because you're tall doesn't mean you have skill. I mean, heck, there's a lot.
But I'm saying it might be enough for them to take up a bench spot. Bench spot. Them dudes don't play anyway. So
that's But I just think Adam Silver will figure. I hope he figures it out, because if it doesn't, no one probably won't watch the All-Star game anymore. They'll go to it because it's an attraction to see the stars, but I don't think the viewership will be there, and that's the second half of the revenue stream.
See, the game itself, I think, is always going to draw in eyes just because the superstars are there. People complain still about the fact that there's no defense in the All-Star game. There are no defense in regular season games. So I don't think that's a valid argument, saying that there's no defense. Right. And the game, like I said, the game itself is really just about people seeing the superstars all playing together. I don't think the game is in any danger, but the dunk contest, I think, is dead. 3-point contest is fine. Skills competition is fine, but people are really clamoring for them to get rid of the dunk contest. Yeah. So
I mean, if let's say this, let's say if they came to us, the Talking Hats, and be like, "Hey, Talking Hats, what would you do to improve the dunk contest?" What would you say? Like, what would be your thought on that? Like, what would your outside the box thinking would be?
See, I know that there's enough money generated that weekend that they can drum up some money to throw appearance fees out there. It's taking a shot. I think some guys would be willing to show up for $1 million. $1 million from the NBA. That's not gonna. I mean, come on, that's not gonna hurt them. Throw that out there to some stars. See if you can get them to show up. If you don't get the top tier talent like Giannis, LeBron. Who else? When Kawhi is healthy, Paul George. If you don't get those guys to show up, then the second tier talents will at least entertain the idea. I think it's worth exploring to get these guys to participate. Because if not, people are going to stop watching, and then the money for that particular part of it won't be generated. You can't sell those ads anymore because nobody cares.
I would say just bring on the Harlem Globetrotters and say who can beat them in a dunk contest.
And that's something else that has been thrown out there too, not necessarily the Globetrotters, but that's a great idea because they're entertaining, by themselves. But there are professional dunkers. There are professional dunking competitions. If the stars don't want to participate and people just want to see dunks, call on these professional dunkers to come out there and put on the show. I was watching some guys on YouTube last night, like guys from standing vertical jumps, putting up highlight dunk contest style dunks. That stuff, that's compelling to see. So if the stars don't want to participate, go that route then.
And then just have like a prize money at the end or something to be like, hey, whoever wins. Because like they used to have a show. I don't know. I think like Shaq and
I remember that. Yeah,
Kenny Smith used to be like the thing. I was like, if they just take that set and put it into the All-Star game, I think they'll get, if, as you stated, if the stars don't want to do it, you just create stars from somewhere else just for that particular weekend, and that's it.
yeah, and those guys wouldn't even be expecting money. That just being on TV would
Mhm.
help their brand. So
Mhm.
all these guys have social media followings, and so if they're on TV, that's what they
Mhm.
want. That's where they're going to
Yeah.
make their money on the back
Yep.
end, getting that
Mhm.
exposure. You can't beat that exposure. So
Nope. And if people are on their social media page, guess where they're going to be watching if they're playing in an NBA All-Star game?
exactly, yeah, I
They're
think
gonna do that.
that's a
So
win-win.
yep. So so Adam Silver, if you're hearing us, we have a great idea. So we want royalties if you do take
Royalties.
royalties, as in 10% of anything that you guys make from that NBA dunk contest is ours.
Shoot,
10%.
I'll take 1%. I'll be, if I got 1%, I'll be set for life.
But 10%, it's that goes a lot farther, bro.
Yeah,
But they're gonna
yeah, all that all-star game nonsense aside, with the 75th anniversary team, getting to see those guys together, for me, for being an old head, like that was cool to see. Especially my favorite part of all of that was seeing Jordan come
Yes.
out, the reception he got from the Cleveland crowd,
Yes.
like he was a hometown kid. He got the loudest cheer, and LeBron came out. LeBron
Yeah.
came out and got a big cheer. Jordan eclipsed him like by
Mhm.
double.
And
To see the reception he got, and the
Mhm.
reception he got from the guys, how happy he was, like commiserating with everybody. That for me, growing up and Jordan being my guy, that warmed my heart. That was pretty cool to see. And to me, it shows me how, the respect that he garners. I mean, he's no question the GOAT.
I was surprised that he showed up. That's
Yeah,
that's the
same
number
here.
one. Like I was surprised that he came to the 75th. I had a very big disagreement about who was number one and who was number two, because number one is Jordan for me, and I'm going to be probably guessing for you as well.
Yeah, no question.
I would not have put LeBron as number two. I mean, because Kobe,
Who put him as number two?
there are people who were talking on like certain sportscasts, and then in sports, and they put like, it was like, I think it was a top 10. It was like Jordan, LeBron, then I think it was Kareem and et cetera, then Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
I would have had, I mean, if people haven't watched the old NBA, if it wasn't for Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, the NBA it won't be the NBA as it is today. So they have to be at least in the top four, top four, top five. LeBron, to me, I mean, he's an exceptional player. You cannot take anything away from him. The travesty is Kobe passed sooner than he needed to, and it would have been amazing to see Kobe there and see what kind of reception he would have gotten at the 75th. Would it have been just as loud as Jordan, or even better than LeBron?
Yeah, I got pretty sad when they showed Vanessa, when they announced him.
Yeah,
it's always you're never gonna see him again. I said it on the previous show. That still gets to me.
Yeah.
It just sucks. He was really. I'm not going to go down that road again. I've done it before. I'll just say it sucks.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, because like, if you had to pick somebody that resembled Jordan, it was Kobe. And the reason why I say that is, even Jordan said, he's like, he took all my moves.
Yeah, he no question modeled his game after Jordan. Like, there's no argument with that.
Yeah, and that's why I respect Kobe a lot more than LeBron. Not saying LeBron had, not taking anything away from him, but if you had, let's say, 5 seconds left in the game, 5 seconds left, who would you want to take that final shot? Would it be Kobe or would it be LeBron? And for me, I followed Kobe since he was in high school. I mean, I was a big Kobe fan before he even came into the league. I knew about his father. And I just think Kobe has that, like when they say Mamba mentality, that's what Mamba mentality is he instilled that into people, is like, I'm going to take it and I'm going to live or die by the shot. And that's how Jordan was too. Jordan said, if I miss it, I miss it, but I'm going to take the last shot. You give that ball to me. And he was a great facilitator too, even though he shot like more than he passed at times, but everybody around him was horrible. So he had to take the shots.
Yeah, and that question, I think the gap is kind of closed on that question here more recently. Earlier in LeBron's career, even within, before the most recent 5 years, if you ask me that question, I'm taking there are a lot of players I'm taking over LeBron to take that last shot. Here more recently with his shot improving and he's not as reluctant as he used to be to take those shots. So it's a tougher question now. The only gripe I have with LeBron in closing out games is he can get to the basket whenever he wants to. Nobody can stop him. He's a freight train. He never does that on the final possession. He'll always settle for the shot. And his shot is better. I will give him space to take that shot because I know he's not going to drive. I'd rather him take that shot than try to play him close and try to give him a drive because he'll never do it. He's never done it. He can easily do it. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if he's scared to get fouled and miss the free throws or what. Maybe that has something to do with it.
You might be 100% because just imagine he's 6'8", 260, right? 260 or let's say he's 240. Let's give him
jacked.
He's jacked. You should be scoring 40 points a game in this NBA. 40 points at least, 40 or 50 points a game if you had that kind of like thing. And for him to only score like 25 to 30, like 25 hovering over close to 30, I'm like, dude, they call a foul on you regardless of anything, except for the Wizards who don't get any calls. That's here nor there, but you're a superstar. So they'll give you the call.
If he drives, he's gonna get the call because the only way you can stop him on a drive is to maul him.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be a ticky-tack foul. He's gonna get the call because he's so big and strong that if he drives, he's gonna score unless three guys are just hanging off him. And so he's gonna get the call, but maybe he's worried about making the free throws.
But he's a good free. He's
not a great free throw shooter.
He's not, but he's
especially in clutch moments. Especially in clutch moments.
But then, I mean that's true too. But the thing is, you have to try at least. If you don't make that effort, then that kind of says about because Kobe used to take it in all the time too. If he couldn't take it, he'll take that shot. But that's why Kobe was such a dual threat. Like he could shoot you and he can also take you to the hoop.
Yeah, and Kobe and Jordan, there was no reason to ever worry about them taking the final shot or driving. If they do either one, if they get fouled, they'll knock down the free throws. If they take the shot, they're probably going to make it. So I wouldn't be concerned with either one of those guys in that situation. Isaiah Thomas came on and said that LeBron is the best player he's ever seen do it. It's hard to knock the word of one of the greatest. I mean, he's top 3 point guard of all time. It's hard to knock somebody like that. Somebody like that's word. He of course has credibility from the standpoint of his greatness, but he loses credibility in the fact that he obviously still hates Michael Jordan because he was kept off the dream team because of Jordan. And that beef is still there. They've never buried that hatchet. So other NBA players say that too, that LeBron is the greatest they've seen do it. It's hard to take Isaiah at his word on that though. He's one of the few players that can say he beat Jordan, he beat Magic, he beat Bird in the playoffs. But I can't take his word that LeBron is the greatest you've ever seen do it.
That's kind of a slap in the face to all the old school history. You're saying Moses Malone, and you got to go back to to earlier basketball like Moses Malone, even with Jordan. I'm like, Jordan at his prime. I mean, come on. Like even Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, you've never seen those two individuals. And you're saying like LeBron is the greatest if you've ever seen. Like that's kind of throwing hay at your generation. Like it's literally throwing salt into the wounds of everybody else who came before you because you have a gripe with Jordan. And Jordan had every right to tell he didn't want to have Isaiah on the dream team because of what he did in the playoffs. I mean, at the end of the day, when you walk off the court without shaking the hands of your opponent, that says a lot about your team. It doesn't say about, when Jordan lost, he came and shook your hand as a man. And if you don't do that, it's like, what's the heck? What's your problem? And yes, they were the bad boys of the 80s. Yes, you have to give them credit. They did all those things. But that game, I mean, if you rub Jordan the wrong way, he is not going to forgive you.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if there's something more to their beef. I don't know. I mean, we've seen the stuff that has been in the documentaries. I don't know if there's something more to it or what's really at the bottom of all of it. But
maybe a tell-all book will happen when
maybe. But he's obviously wrong.
Yeah,
Jordan is the greatest. I mean, no question about that. If you want to say LeBron is second, it's hard at this point in his career to argue against it because just from a longevity standpoint. He's been doing it at this level for his whole career. He's
Right.
had some injuries here within the past, I'd say within the past 7 years. He's missed
Right.
some significant time during seasons, but he hasn't missed a full season. He's when he's on the court, he's always the best player on the court when he's in the game.
Mhm.
It's hard. If you want to argue that he's not the second greatest player of all time, that's a tough argument for anybody. So
Yeah.
I'm not in a position to make that debate right now. It would take a lot of thought and research and all that to try to knock him from that spot. Like you said, Magic and Larry, though, they people forgot how good Larry Bird was. If he all it takes is a YouTube search to look at not even highlights, like watch games, how he
Yeah.
commanded games from the power forward position or small forward. I think Mikhail was power from the small forward position. It was LeBron-esque. Like he was
Yeah.
commanding the court, running point and all that stuff. Excellent passer, excellent shooter. People forgot, man. I didn't forget because I grew up with that.
Mhm. And he couldn't jump. That's the greatest thing. Like he was a 6'6" thing, but he used 6'9", yes, yeah. He used his knowledge of the game to position himself for the right rebound, for the right shot. Like, I mean, to do that and to play against high level competition too. It's not about like, I mean, to think he knew, and that's the thing that people forget is, and that's why I kind of look at Isaiah Thomas's things like, bro, maybe you're just saying it just out of spite, but you're forgetting the legacy all these guys built for the future ahead. And the sad thing is the players now who are in the NBA don't look at the Magics, the Birds, the Jordans, even the Kobe's. They look at like, oh, it's LeBron and somebody else. They don't go back a certain time. And I think that's, I mean, it's okay because that's like what they grew up in, like, because they Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is one of the greatest players to ever put on a uniform.
No question
The
about
greatest
that.
point guards, yeah.
No
Even
question.
White Chocolate, like he was amazing. Like heck, I'll put him in the top 40.
Hey, he had. I wish his career could have been longer. He was very entertaining to watch, of course. I think the dumbest thing I heard this week was from Charles Oakley, a player who I used to respect. I used to respect Charles Oakley.
Mhm.
He came out and said that in his era, Giannis would have been a bench player. Yeah, okay. In your era, you were a starter. So
Mhm.
don't tell me that somebody who's miles ahead of you and as far as any aspect of basketball talent would have been a bench player in your era when you were a starter. Like Charles Oakley was always a big lumbering dude. He was more of an enforcer than a basketball player.
Yeah.
Jordan loved him because Jordan knew when he got fouled, Charles Oakley was going to be right there to have his back. That was Charles Oakley's role in the league when he was on the Bulls and the Knicks. So it was never about, oh, we got a game plan against Charles Oakley. Nobody ever, those words never came out of any coach's mouth. So for him to say something dumb like that, like I put a tweet out that, so Charles Oakley has CTE? Like, what a dumb thing to say. That's ridiculous. You can say other players in this era would have been bench players, but not the greatest player in this current era. I mean, LeBron is his window is starting to close, and Giannis is next.
So if Giannis played back in the if Giannis had the same skill set now back, let's say 20 years ago, he would have been the dominant center of the game. Dominant center. Like he would have been the Hakeem Olajuwon before Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, because 20 years ago was 2002. So put Giannis there in 2002. Because Dwight Howard came in shortly after that, and young Dwight Howard was playing a lot like Giannis is now from an athletic standpoint. He was Superman. I saw some highlights. I just stumbled across some of Dwight Howard young. Of course, I remember all that stuff too, but the way he dominated games is the way Giannis is dominating now. So if you want a window of how that would have gone, it would have gone like that. And then 20 years before that, what was that? That would have been 82.
82.
Put Giannis in 82. I mean, that would have been disgusting. But put him in Charles Oakley's era in the 80s and 90s. Like Giannis in that era, good grief.
But the thing is, Giannis is a strong. The thing is, what people don't like when Charles Oakley says something like that, he has to remember that Giannis is a tough guy. Like this, he gets called for fouls now that wouldn't have been called fouls back during his era. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to compare strength to strength, Giannis is like a chiseled, like from stone. Like if you look at his body, he's gained muscle.
And he's not one of these, no question about it. And he's not one of these mentally soft millennials either. He got hurt in the playoffs, like his knee, the way it bent, there's no way he should have been out there playing. Not only did he play, but he took him all the way.
And he got MVP.
he's a player built for that kind of physical era.
Mhm.
I don't have any doubt that he would have been
No.
top 3 in that era.
Oh, easily. And he would have been the Hakeem before Hakeem. Like, if you're trying to compare those two, like, it would have been hard because Hakeem was the first player to, like, in my opinion, the greatest center of all time, minus Kareem. But I'm kind of biased towards that because I grew up watching and I patterned my basketball game around him. But his, like, the footwork that Giannis has is amazing for a person his size, and he's worked on his game.
He's
You can
getting
tell
better
that he's-
every day.
yeah.
He works
So-
on his shot. Like, I love
Mhm.
players who actually work on their weaknesses.
Mhm.
And he
And-
clearly does.
He'll be even scarier if that 3-point shot that he's taking becomes flawless.
He's almost
That's-
at the point where you can't leave him. He's almost there.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
and that's and as you stated, Dale, like, that's the next torch. Once LeBron retires, Giannis is going to be the face of this league. And my thing is, I hope it's not too much for him. I hope it's not too much for
and
him.
see that goes back to what I was saying about him not being one of these typical millennial players. I
Mhm.
think he is built perfectly to shoulder that kind of load. He's not interested in leaving Milwaukee, and that shows a lot about his mental fortitude. You even had guys like LeBron leaving to form super teams. Giannis
Yeah.
is sticking there where he was drafted, being loyal to his team, and the team is trying to build around him. They could do a better job of that to reward his loyalty. So we'll see how that all plays out. But if they can get good pieces around him, there's no question that he is the future of the league. They could he should finish with more than one. But even if he does finish with only one, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. He's already earned that.
Yeah, and the thing is,
Two
all you need is
MVPs?
one ring. Say again?
He has 2 MVPs.
I think so.
I think so.
he has.
So
I think he has 2 MVPs. Yeah, because I mean, all you need is one ring, man.
and he's like 26 or 27. He has 2 MVPs already. I mean,
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. And then the thing is, in this day and age, people are like, oh, like, I'm not a champion, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, because it's hard. It's hard to become a champion.
Yeah.
I mean, the NBA, the NHL, like football, it's a race almost to get to where you need to get to, and it's one and done. That's why football is the all-time team sport. But to play 7 games is even harder because you see the same team and fatigue sets in and like other things, and to get a ring after that, that says a lot.
yeah, no question about it.
I'll say
Speaking of,
he'll get,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll say he'll get 3 rings by the time he retires. 3.
I could see that. And this year is a great opportunity for them
Mhm.
with the Nets not being 100% here. Who knows what you're going to get out of Ben Simmons when he comes back?
Oh, yeah.
This is I think the perfect opportunity for them to go ahead and get that second one.
Yes.
With the Sixers picking up Harden here, I don't think he's enough. He hasn't showed the mental fortitude, especially in the playoffs, to get a team over the top. So I don't expect them to be there. I think this is the great opportunity for the Bucks to go ahead and but they've got to worry about the Bulls too. Everybody's sleeping on the Bulls. DeRozan is having the season. He's having a season of his life here in the past. Dang it, I knew the number and it slipped my mind. But he's had a stretch here of scoring more than 35 points, and it's something like 10 games or something like
Yeah, I
that,
was
10
about to
straight
say, yeah.
games or something over 35 points. With him playing like this, if the Bulls finish in the top seed, he deserves serious MVP consideration.
Oh yeah.
Because Levine has been out. Like, that team hasn't been whole the whole season, and he's been carrying them, and they're still up there with, I think, the Heat are up there too. If they
Mhm.
finish with the Bucks coming on, with the Nets getting healthy, with the Sixers getting hardened, if they still finish in number 1, it'll be hard to argue against him for MVP, even
Mhm.
with Jokic having the season he's having.
Right.
But speaking of Jokic, the other night against the Kings in their first game back from the break, that was a back and forth game. Sabonis was going off. I think he had 31 or something like that.
Oof.
They were battling back and forth. When Jokic came in the game later, though, he shut Sabonis completely down. When Jokic was out, but just before that, Sabonis was murdering in the paint. It made me alone for that with the Wizards. I wish they would have gotten him. Dang it! But I think they're playing tonight too. The same 2 teams.
The
So
Wizards are playing back to back.
no, the Kings and Nuggets.
Kings, okay, yeah.
I think they play here tonight. I was in
Okay.
Sacramento the other night. Might have to check out going to that one. It's going to be a nice night too here too. So maybe I'll look into that and let you know if I go. But Jokic ended up coming in the 4th and closing that game out. He had 25, 12, and 9. So he almost had another triple double. Again, like I've been saying here lately, carrying the team. I think they're still in 6th. He can carry them all the way. and then Murray and Porter, they just reported this week that they will be back soon, both of them. So scary team. Watch out.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
team.
scary team when they
Yeah.
have the full pieces together.
Yeah.
It's just, you want to transition to the Wizards, man,
Yeah.
or you?
Yeah.
Man, like as we stated before, without Kristoff playing, we don't know how this trade really worked out in the Wizards' favor. But they battled last night. I mean, I was happy that they battled, but there's something like, I don't know. It's just that they take like stupid shots, and I don't think they're disciplined enough to go into a double overtime game and win, because like overtime is okay. If the single overtime, they're okay with that. But double overtime, I don't know. I would have called timeout when we were down in the second overtime, when you saw people huffing and puffing. I would have just called over a timeout. I don't know why Wes Unseld Jr. didn't. You could clearly see the players were gassed. Clearly,
so in a game like that, when it is so close and it comes down to where you're in overtime and double overtime, the teams that usually win those games are the teams with the better coach. So, yeah. I mean, there's no question who the better coach is in that situation.
100%.
5 rings.
Yeah, I think he has 5 rings.
Yeah, so there's no question there. So I'm not surprised that in the end, Sacramento, or San Antonio pulled it out. But it should, to me, it should have never gone. It should have never been that close. I don't think the rosters are even close. The Spurs have DeJounte Murray. Can you name anybody else on that roster? You watched the game. Can you name anybody else?
Except that Propel guy.
Pirtle,
yeah.
So there. Speaking of him, there's a new word game. I don't know if you play Wordle. Have you played Wordle? It's this game where you try to guess a 5-letter word, and there's a word out every day. Somebody made a basketball version called Pirtle. And it's spelled the way his name is spelled. So if you don't know how his name is pronounced, then you don't get it. His name does not look like it should be pronounced Pirtle. It's P-L-E-L-T-L. How do you get Pirtle out of that? But whatever, it is what it is. But I played that game too. It's pretty fun too. You try to guess an NBA player's name. That aside, he had a huge game against the Wizards. Jakob Pirtle. Who know? I know who Pirtle is. He played somewhere else before he came to San Antonio. Maybe he was, I don't know. But I've been following him there too. He had a big game last night. He had 28 points. How does Jakob Pirtle have 28 points in the game? So when you let that happen, it's not really a surprise that you lose. DeJounte Murray ended up with 31, I believe. And then
he was on fire, dude.
Have you ever heard of Keldon Johnson? You watched the game. I watched the game. I didn't even notice this dude, Keldon Johnson. He had 32 points.
Yeah.
You're not going to win when you let Keldon Johnson get 32 points.
It's just, I have to kind of put the blame on Wes Unseld, though, because I think he's shifting lines too much.
Maybe.
I think he's going in and out. Like when Gil was playing, things were okay, you know?
And he only played 8 minutes. So
exactly. See, that's what I don't understand.
I don't really get it.
Like, yeah. And it's like, oh, you have to do matchups. Okay, fine. But if he's doing what you think is correct, you should play him more. And those rebounds that Jakob Pirtle was getting, I mean, Gafford is just as tall as he is, and I think a little bit stronger. I mean, body him up.
What you're saying is he's going too deep into the bench, and you're absolutely right, because last night Cassius Winston played 4 minutes. What is the point of that? There's no point in somebody playing 4 minutes. Like, just leave him on the bench. A nice DMP would be fine. Nobody cares. He's still getting paid. I'm sure whatever. I'd rather not play than play 4 minutes. So you leave that out. You give Gil those 4 minutes. They're not the same position, but that's still, when he's on the court, somebody else who should be on the court is not. So just shorten up the bench a little bit. Everybody else who played should have played. Kuzma, of course, had a monster game. He had 36 points. That's what I expect out of him. And that's why I fully expect him to be the piece that Bill needs going forward. I don't know if it's hard to say right now if Kristaps is going to be that piece too, the third piece. It's fair to anticipate that, but with his health being a concern, you never know. That's up in the air. So I don't know if they want to explore in the offseason bringing in somebody else too. But if Kristaps can start taking care of himself, and Chris put out a Facebook post, is it on the player or is it just bad luck when your body fails you like that? For me, I think a majority of it is on the player. because some guys really invest in taking care of their body. Like Russell Wilson, I think $3 million every or a million, some crazy number every offseason just in his body maintenance.
Yeah.
LeBron does that too. James Harrison, he was playing, he did that, the linebacker from the Steelers. He used to do that too. When you put the money into it, you get the return on investment. So, but do you really care about that return on investment when you're getting paid either way? Some guys just don't care. So,
see, it begs the question: is how great do you want to be?
That's a fair question.
Like, how great do you want to be? Because you got stars, right? You're a star in the NBA if you play. You're a star, right? Because you made it to the NBA.
Everybody in the NBA is a star because you're there.
You're there. Then you got middle stars where it's like you're a bench player, you get your minutes, but you're still a star. But then you got the upper superstars,
the elite,
where superstars are great. I kind of break them apart into two different kind of things. You can be a superstar, but you don't need to be great. But if you're great, you're still a superstar. You see, Porzingis is a superstar, but he's not great. And he's not like, he's not a star, but he's a superstar. If he's still 20, I think 26 years old, 25 years old.
He's still quite young. Yeah.
Still quite young. So his body, because he started the NBA a lot earlier too. So his body has taken a lot of beating. It needs to come upon him.
I don't know about that.
Well, because
he hasn't really taken a lot of a beating because he never plays.
Well, the thing is, true. But the thing is, he's 7'3", right? So your knees are going to get affected by your height. If you don't figure out, because all he has is knee problems. Everything else is fine. Like because he's putting so much weight on his knee. So he has to figure out weight distribution. He has to figure out, if he's doing certain exercises incorrectly, because form is huge. What if he's doing squats incorrectly? Even a minor kind of even a minor mishap in a squat can injure your knees and also your back, which affects all your mechanisms in your body. So it's upon the player 100%, but it's also upon the team to see that. If the team doesn't see that, because you are hired, and I don't trust a lot of teams to do that because they don't care. But the player, as you said, needs to take it upon himself, because he is a superstar, and superstars once in a while can go in the wind after, if you don't, it's like, what are you going to do for me lately? And if he can't live up to what he's done, he's just going to be a journeyman and just travel around and just get he's going to be like an off the bench player. And maybe he is an off the bench player now because of what his injury status is. And maybe he's okay with that, playing maybe 10 minutes a game.
No, he's his talent, from a talent perspective, he's too good to be a bench player at this point. He's a very good player when he's healthy. It may be up to him to make that personal investment in his body, to hire a strength coach, maybe somebody to help him lift properly, stretch properly, train properly, learn how to run and distribute the weight from all that height better than he's doing it. I don't know how he got hurt this time. I know he has a bone bruise in his knee. I don't know how that happened. It could have been just a freak thing, but even freak things don't tend to linger when you're taking good care of your body. Jokic earlier this season had a disgusting twist in his knee. I really thought he might be out for the season when I saw it. He played the very next game because he came into the league a big chubby center. Look at him now. He's slim because he takes care of his body now. And now he doesn't get hurt. When he gets hurt, he's right back. He bounces right back. He doesn't miss games because he takes care of his body.
If the Washington Wizards are listening, and Kristaps Porzingis, if you need a personal trainer, Chris, Dale's brother, is readily available.
You could definitely help him. No question about that.
And all we ask in return is for your followers to follow us.
Like, subscribe, support. Thank you.
Yes.
But so last night, KCP had a big game in 42 minutes. He had 24 points. Gafford had 17. If he plays more minutes, that's what he's going to give you.
Exactly.
Neto had 22, which is, I'm still torn between Neto and Ish Smith as with regard to who I would want playing more minutes.
Last night?
He did. He played 21 minutes. He had 10 points. When he was on the court, though, I felt like he had really took command of the game, really a leader on the court. You get the same things out of Neto, but just from the eye test, for me,
Yeah.
the team looks better when Ish Smith is on the court. I
Mhm.
don't even know if what is it called?
The coach?
No, I'm trying to think. I had the word. Oh, analytics. I don't
I
know if
know.
analytics would support what I'm saying. Might
It
not,
will.
but from
No,
the
no.
eye test alone, I think Ish Smith needs to play more minutes than Neto.
So it's the reason why like we both love Ish Smith is he pushes the ball. It forces the defense to play up,
He
which
keeps you on
gets
your
them.
heels.
Yes, and it spaces out more because if you know he's going to drive, you're not going to step back because if you do, then he can kick it out to someone else because
Yeah.
you're going to be watching the ball. And that's what's one of the things I was looking at is when Neto takes the ball up and I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, push it. Like you're just slowly taking it up and you got to force them to play you.
Yeah,
and that's what
Neto.
Ish does.
Yeah, Neto's shot was on last night, but like you're saying,
Oh,
he's not nearly as dynamic as Ish Smith
mm,
is. Ish Smith, when he's pushing the ball, he can't go all the way. And when you have that, when you know that in your mind that that can happen, it makes you play back a little bit. And so
mhm.
that's open up shots for other guys. I don't know. Maybe the analytics say something different, and maybe that's why they're doing what they're doing.
But if the eye test says it, the analytics has to come up with because someone has to be watching it and recording it. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the way the Wizards played yesterday, if Ish Smith was, I think what they need to do is have Ish and Neto start and have Ish be like the facilitator, Neto almost be like the safety net for ball handling, and then make your other three score. And if you can't do that, then I don't know, because at the same time, I think that's what the Wizards are struggling with is rotation. And you cannot go deep into your bench to let unknowns play if they're not proven because they'll make mistakes. And I got a problem with, even though I love Kuzma, yesterday, he needs to know how to control his shot when he's driving into the lane because some of the shots he came up with
Late in the game,
hard.
yeah.
Yeah, late in the game. And if you he missed 3 shots in the lane because it was too fat because he couldn't control it. That's what 2 4 that's 6 points. Those 6 points could have been crucial in regulation, even in overtime too. And you don't need to win it all the time. You don't need to take the jump shot. That's why, like Stan Van Gundy was saying, like the 3 biggest kind of factors is like free throws, 2-point and 3-point shots, and the Suns are like dead last in this, but they're number 1 in 2-point field goals, and they're like what number 2 in the East or number 3 in the East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my mentality is, yes, the 3-point shot is there, but you don't necessarily need to take it every single time. You can go and get inside, even and don't and Danny, you're gonna learn this. Don't look at the referees for the foul. They're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, he hasn't earned that respect from them yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a really quick break here, and then we can come back and wrap up the Wizards. We can break down their schedule a little bit too, and maybe talk a little bit more about Danny because I like the way he's growing as a player. So just a quick second here. We'll be right back. All righty, and we are back from the break here. Like I said, we're going to talk about Danny a little bit, just a little bit. I was watching him play last night. He was guarding DeJounte Murray too during stretches of the game. Just really like the way he moves his feet. And Murray was making shots, but they were tough shots. And that's what Denny gives you. He can stick with the point guards. And then his length is so good that he was making Murray make some tough shots. Those aren't always going to fall. It's easier when if he would have been against Ish Smith all game and Neto all game, he's going to make easier shots. Denny was giving him the business though. I just like his shots getting better. His passing was on point last night. It's hard to hate that pick now. I think he's every bit the player that they expected him to be. And as his role continues to grow, he's just going to keep getting better. I love him. I love him as a player.
When they picked him, I was like, that's a great pick because I know he's going to evolve into the player that we're seeing. He's going to evolve even better. I had a friend of mine who's like, who is this Denny Avdia guy? And I'm like, is he good? I'm like, believe me, he is good. He has the capabilities of even being great.
He does.
It's just he's working. And you can tell that he's worked on his game. He's worked on his game. He worked on his defense. And they were knocking him for his free throws, but he's making his free throws now. I mean, he's going to miss 1 or 2 in a game, and that's reasonable. But what separates him from other players in the league is his defense is spot on. I mean, his defense is like, I mean, he can alter shots and he makes you work. And when you're working for your shot, you can also get tired because you have to do a little bit more moves than you would normally do. And he's going to take that next step, I think, into his offensive capabilities. I think his defense right now is solid. I think he's going to be like a little bit more of like I don't even want to compare him to Scottie Pippen because I think that may be a little bit too much right now, but he kind of looks like a Scottie Pippen, a young Scottie Pippen who can lock you down. He can guard, he can cover the ones to the fives.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. I love his defense. From the offensive standpoint, I think the only reason he hasn't made the next step yet is because you had somebody like Beal who's ball dominant holding him back. But with him being out for the rest of the season, this is the chance for him to take that next step in his development and his growth, especially with West giving him an opportunity to run point here and there. That's really going to help him get back to what he showed when he was playing overseas. He was that player already. So if he can develop those same skills in the NBA game, then he's going to take the next step as a player on the offensive end. His shots getting better. His shots might be there now. He's not somebody you want to leave at all. He knocks those down now. So like I said, it's about his passing. It's right there on point. So maybe he can be the piece that they need with Beal, Kristaps, Kuzma. They can be a solid team next season. And they can be a playoff team this season.
Don't forget my homeboy Corey Kispert.
Kispert played well last night too. I think he had 12.
He had 12.
And his shots on point too.
He's going to improve. He's still a rookie, so you have to give him a little bit more, but he can play.
Yeah.
Rui, I think
his shot was falling last night too.
But if you had to trade somebody next year, it'd probably be Rui.
Yeah.
I was really high on him, but I think he's digressed because I also think he doesn't get enough playing time either. And that's the thing is, like, he started off really well, but I think the Olympics took a lot out of him. So if he doesn't show anything next year, I think you got to trade him for somebody else. I mean, I wish him the best if he does go somewhere, but he can be a dominant player if he wants to be. But I think with the injuries that he's had and the mental things he has to go through, he needs to work on himself first. And I think when he does that, the sky's the limit for Rui.
Yeah, and in the Nets game before the All-Star break, I said that was the most aggressive I've ever seen him play. If that player showed up every night, nobody's discussing trading him. It's just you don't get that from him every night. That's what he needs to work on. His basketball talent. He's a good defender. He's a good shooter. I mean, his game is there. What he needs to work on is his motor. He plays like from that standpoint, he plays like Otto Porter some nights. And Otto Porter is nicknamed, and from some, making fun of him, some guys called him comatose because he didn't look like he cared.
Yeah.
But Rui, that's all he needs to improve is just looking like he cares. That's all I need from him.
Yeah, and the thing is, the next couple of games that the Wizards are going through is going to test them. I mean, after the All-Star game, okay, you can give them a bypass. I mean, they took the Spurs to double overtime. Right. I don't think the Spurs are the Spurs going anywhere, or are they?
That's a good question. Let's see. I wouldn't think so, but they might surprise me. They might be hanging around like 11th or 12th or something like that. Let me see.
I thought they were like a 9th or 10th seed, right? I think
the Lakers are in 9th, but let's see. Let's see what's going on here. What is going on here in the West? So the Suns are in first, of course. The Spurs are they're in 11th. So they're hanging out there just outside of the playoffs with only Portland in front of them, so they could sneak in. And with facing their roster is whatever. When you face Pop, I wouldn't want to play them.
So let me ask you this, right? So what's the Wizards' record since yesterday? Since they lost yesterday, right? They're like are they 25 and something, or?
The Wizards are in 11th place. They're 27 and 32.
27 and 32. What's the Lakers' record, out of curiosity?
Let's see. The Lakers are 27 and 32.
So if you can make a fair comparison, right? Same thing, but you have an extreme superstar on the Lakers with LeBron and Westbrook, and Anthony Davis, who's not playing right now because he's injured, or is he out for the season?
No, he's not. He'll be back in about.
Right. So they're 27.
They're saying it's 48 weeks. It's an ankle sprain. I'd expect, about a month.
About a month or so, yeah. The Lakers are 25 and 32, and the Wizards are 25.
27. They're both 27 and 32.
Right, 27 and 32, 27 and 32. So you're gonna thinking to yourself, hey, like a superstar team is the same record as the Wizards. What's going on?
Yeah,
Right.
and then, well, in fairness to the Lakers, they're doing it in the West, which is tougher.
By all means, that's the toughest conference in the NBA right now. But it kind of makes you think that they're even in the East, which is not that competitive. The Wizards are not that far off of making the playoffs if they make a run.
No, they're not.
Because people are saying tank, get a better. I was like, listen, guys, like you don't play the game to tank. I used to be the one of those, as I said in the previous show. Oh, why don't we just tank and get a draft pick or something? Draft picks in the NBA are different because it's on a lottery system. It's not like, oh, if you got the worst record, you get number one, number two, et cetera, et cetera. No, they put you in a lottery. You can be number one or you can be number whatever. It's just how many ping pong balls you get. So you're playing at a risk at that point. Like, what's the point in tanking if you don't know if you're going to get a better lottery pick? You might as well just play your best, see where the cards lay, and who knows if you go to the playoff and make noise. I mean, heck, you're not. People say, "Oh, you're not going to go to the NBA." Of course, we know they're not going to go to the championship, but they could surprise some teams and knock them out.
Yeah, once you get there, you never know. The NBA is a little bit different from something like hockey, where an eighth seed can win. An eighth seed has won in the NBA before. It's just the East is very top heavy this year. So if they get in, I don't really expect anything out of, especially with Beal being out. They don't have somebody that they can really lean on in those playoff situations. But who knows? They might sneak in. They're in 11th right now. That's one game out. So they might sneak into the play-in game, and we'll see what happens at that point. Tonight they've got Cleveland in Cleveland. I think Cleveland's favored by 7. I put $1 on the Wizards +7. Cleveland is missing their point guard tonight, so that game, the Wizards can stand. The Wizards beat Cleveland at full strength, so they can definitely win this game tonight. And then they got Detroit next. So if they can put together, a string of back-to-back wins, and then they've got the Hawks out there after that. I think the Hawks are in 10th. So
They're not. Yeah.
the Hawks 10th, the Wizards 11th. Maybe they can make some noise here and sneak into the 10th spot. We'll see. This is a good stretch for them coming up, though. No real world beaters that they're gonna have to match up against. After that, they've got the Pacers, Clippers, and then Lakers. Those are all winnable games. The Spurs should have been too, though. So it's hard. It's hard to predict.
See, that's the problem that we face as a team is the teams that we're supposed to beat, we don't beat.
Yeah.
Like we'll play like Indiana and they don't have this guy, they don't have this guy, but their backups scored 20, 30 points on us.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, who is this person? And that's my biggest fear is they don't come up to the games that they need to come up to, and they don't wake up for the games they need to wake up to. Like you can't wake up one morning, we're playing the number one team, we're putting the Brooklyn, so we're going to put on all of our stuff and beat them. Why can't you do that to a team that you should come out to? Like they play Cleveland tonight. My biggest fear is that backup point guard may score 20, 30 points on us because we might let him.
Yeah, backcourt defense tends to be a liability for the Wizards unless they're going to put Denny up there to guard the guys. Who knows? We'll see how that goes too. No matter what, that should be a good game to watch. They're both Cleveland's a good team.
What time is it tonight? Is it 7?
It's 8.
Oh, primetime game.
Yeah.
Oh, what, TNT? Maybe I don't know.
With it being 8 o'clock, I think ABC's doing games now. Maybe ABC.
Maybe. Oh yeah, because Saturdays are always ABC or TNT.
So.
One of those two.
I might be lying. Right. Don't quote me on that at all. I might be.
No, because ABC usually plays basketball games like in the thing, but when it comes at nighttime, I think TNT or I don't know if it's TNT or ABC. They play one thing, but who knows? Whatever it is, it's going to be a good game. I'll take the Wizards and the points.
And I did. I put my money where my mouth is on that. I put $1 on it. So
yeah,
we'll see how that plays out. They've definitely got a stretch of winnable games here though coming up until they play the Warriors and Nuggets back to back. They'll probably lose those two, but like you said, they play up to their competition, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, so let's pick the next 5 games to see what the record is.
Okay, so Cleveland, Pistons, Hawks, Pacers, and Clippers are the next 5.
Next 5. I'll say they'll go 3-2.
I like that. I like 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2. I think that will be their best because they're going to lose to a random team that we were like, wait, what?
And then after that, they've got the Lakers and Blazers right after that. So
yeah, so they'll beat the Lakers, and they'll lose to the Blazers. The Blazers are just, I mean,
The Blazers are terrible, but their strength is their backcourt, and that's where the Wizards' weakness is on defense. So
yeah. I mean, they could be both teams, but they have to lose to one or the other. So I'd rather have them lose to the Blazers than the Lakers.
yeah, it'd be nice to see them beat the Lakers. I can talk some trash to some Lakers fans, you know. That'd be cool.
Oh, by all means, yes, but that's not.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah, but I mean, I think that's the. I think if we had our pick of the litter to have a starting five, I think we probably would agree. Like Danny needs to be in the starting five. Kispert, I think, needs to be in the starting five to get his shooting rhythm, because I think he's a rhythm shooter. The more you get it to him, the better confidence he gets. Kuzma is Kuzma. I think you have to start Gafford over Bryant, because I think Bryant now is more of a stretch five than a five, and he doesn't seem to understand that he doesn't need to take a jump shot every time. And Gafford gives you that muscle and that defensive presence that, unfortunately, Bryant used to give, but he lost it.
Yeah.
And then for the point guard, I have to say this, man. I think you have to start Ish Smith over Neto. You just have to.
I agree. In a perfect scenario for me, I would think that you would be able to start Denny at point, but they're not there yet. Maybe at some point down the line, they might experiment with that. But with that not being the case right now, I agree. You start Ish. I would start Denny at the 2 and KCP at the 3, and then just have them to kind of interchange throughout the game when needed. But those two starting, Kuzma at the 4, and then, like you said, Gafford at 5 to start until Kristaps comes back, and then I'll start him at 5.
Yeah, if Kristoff, so that begs the question though, right? Now, if Kristoff plays, he stretches your, even if he plays the 5 or the 4, right? Kuzma can play the 5 too. So then you really do have a competitive, like, inside outside game with both with Kristoff and Kuzma, because Kuzma's what, 6'10", and Kristoff is 7'3".
Yeah, and the problem with Kristaps though is he doesn't really play, like, defense is not his thing. Rebounding is not his thing. He's an outside player. But height, and I said before, height is kind of an equalizer that can give guys who are more bangers inside issues still, because when you raise that arm up, you still got to shoot over a dome of a guy who's 7'3". So
yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I just feel that, like, we can see if this trade is Kristoff supposed to play, like, tonight or no?
it's still undetermined. I wouldn't expect him to play tonight. They're in Cleveland. I had it up. I closed it. I think it's in Cleveland. I think the next time they'll play is their next home game. I think they'll be talking about that then. But it's still up in the air. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, I mean, so you know me, and people will say that, oh, there's like a lingering injury. When there's smoke, there's fire. So I hope it's not a lot worse than we got, you know. But I did check this though. I did check how Dinwiddie and Bertans are playing in Dallas.
Bertans is playing well.
Bertans is playing well, but Dinwiddie is.
And no surprise there. Like he even said, he's still coming back from the injury. So I don't know if they should expect anything out from him this season until a year has passed since the injury. So maybe more towards the playoff run. He might get going a little bit. But Bertans, he's been kind of lighting it up down there. And I think first of all, he needed to change the scenery because his minutes weren't consistent here. Down there, we can get more consistent playing time. He's a good player. So
and with Luka,
we didn't need him.
And Luka passing you the ball, I mean, heck, you get in your sweet spot almost every time. So
no question.
And I think Bertans needed a change too. He did great things for us, but paying him that much money for a 3-point threat, kind of a stretch in my opinion. But
yeah, and Kristaps is going to give them that same level of shooting. So they didn't lose anything by making that move at all. I don't care how well Bertans plays on there. His contract needed to go. Then he needed to change the scenery too. The guys here didn't like him. He'll probably end up being a good player, but when you're not, he didn't fit because the guys didn't like him. So
right. So do you think he could have been arrogant a little bit? Is that probably why?
I brought it up before that it rubs people the wrong way when you're trying to be a leader and you're not playing well. Maybe he tried to do that too early. Maybe he should have waited till he was back and then try to step up and be the leader that the team needed. Nobody's going to listen to you when you're playing like trash and you're trying to step up and tell people what to do. Nobody wants to hear that out of you.
Right. So, because I always figured, like, when you're playing a sport, right, and you come in as like the big honcho or whatever because they give you the big contract. You're starting with your other person who's like the superstar of the team. But if you're struggling, if you speak up, is that a deterrent or is that saying that, hey guys, now did he say that I'm not playing well and you guys are not playing well? You know, it's always the tactness, right? Like sometimes I think it's how you say it and the way you say it that can make people understand. If someone comes in like, you know what, man, you suck, you're not playing well, and we need you to play like this. But the guy's like, dude, you're not even doing your part. So why are you yelling at me for? You know?
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure how it all went down. Like, really, I don't have a source in the locker room, but
yeah.
I would guess that he tried to stand up like after a loss and say, "Hey, yo, we need to play better, man. We got to do better than this." And then everybody was like, "Man, shut up," telling man. So it's just the thing is nobody wants to hear from you when you're not playing well. If he
Right.
would have gone out there and they lost and he dropped 20 in the game and then tried to say something, that's different. But
Right.
he didn't have any stretch in the season. He had stretches where he was out there not scoring at all or having
Right.
3 and 5. He probably tried to stand up after one of those and say something, and people tune that out. So
And I also felt that like even if you can't shoot the ball, be a facilitator. He wasn't even facilitating, like he wasn't even passing the
no,
ball.
and his defense wasn't good. I mean, it's just
Yeah, it was just a trickle down. And I understand your needs or thing, but like I always say that if you can't do one thing, try to do another so you can compensate for that, right? Have like 10 assists. Like you don't have to get 10, have 10 assists. Make sure that the defense knows that if you're going to collapse, I'm going to pass it out to the guy I can shoot it. And he was just, I mean, I hate to say he was a chicken with his head cut off. He was like scrambling around. It's like he didn't quite grasp the offense, and he was passing to Beal more than him taking charge. Like, I'm the point guard. I'm the point. I facilitate. Beal, you shoot. And sometimes you may need to be like, hey, guy, maybe take Beal to the side, like, listen, let me facilitate to you. I'll get you the shot. Just give me the ball. And if there's no communication, it's like this. If we played on a team, I know you're going to shoot the balls. I'm just going to get you the ball because I can't shoot. I can rebound, but I know if I put you in a position to shoot, I'm going to make sure that you're open. I'm going to pass you the ball in your sweet spot. And then that means that will force the defense to guard more. And I don't think Dinwiddie understood that, like, he could have been a leader in other ways, and that's probably why he got shot. He probably shot his own self. Like, he put his foot in his own mouth, I would put it that way.
Yeah, and he often looked lost on the court. What he should have been trying to do is, before he spoke up the way he did, try to go out the next game. If he was disappointed by the effort in the game where he spoke up, go out the next game and then lead by example. Show that you're the one out there diving around, making those extra effort plays, and then speak up. If you're doing it and then you speak up, then you deserve that pedestal to go ahead and speak up.
Yes.
But I don't remember a point during the season where he was playing where he did that. So I don't think he ever had that platform to do that.
How's Montrezl doing? I haven't checked the feed.
Not sure. I haven't. It hasn't been many games that he's been there. So I know in the games that I did see he was playing, him and Ball really fit together well. So, and that makes sense. But
and I was just like, man, we shouldn't have traded.
Like I said at the time, that's a move that they kind of needed to make because of their depth in the front court and because of the fact that he's on a 1-year deal. It's better to get something for him. And they got Ish Smith for him, a need. They got a need for an expiring contract. So no matter how well he plays to close out the season, I can't gripe with that move at all. That was a masterful move by Shepherd to get something for a guy who's on an expiring deal.
Yeah, that, and also try to get and get. So that I always say getting something big in return for something less is always a win. So how he masterfully traded Dinwiddie and Bertans to Dallas to get Kristoff, because Luka was pretty pissed when they traded Kristoff Porzingis. He was pretty upset about that.
He may have shown that publicly, but I'm not sure how well they played together. I think the move helps him. It helps Luka because with Kristaps not playing like a big, Luka is a shooter. He doesn't need somebody out there clogging up the outside with him. I think Luka has played very well since the move. So I'm not sure how upset about the move he really was.
Right.
I think the move helps him, and it got him somebody who can help up with the ball handling once Dinwiddie's back. So
and also Bertans with the 3-point shot, like you already have somebody who can just spot up and shoot, and
with that being a specialty role for him too, as opposed to Kristaps, but you never know where Bertans is gonna be. So
have you been hearing where the new Commander Stadium is going to be built? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, the three sites that came out were Sterling, Dumfries, and Woodbridge. Potomac Shore, they call it, the Dumfries one. They call it Potomac Shores to make it sound ritzy. It's just Dumfries. I mean,
The Dumfries.
but that area of Dumfries is supposedly nice. I don't know that I've been through there, but to me, if I'm picking from, if those are the three finalists, I'm sure they're not at this point. But if out of those three top spots, I'm picking Sterling. I mean, if it's in Woodbridge, that's going to cause a disconnect between a lot of the fan base.
I'm not traveling to either Woodbridge or Dumfries to see a game.
No.
Traffic already is horrendous.
Yeah.
And Sterling, okay, it's like maybe what, 20 minutes away, another 40 minutes. But I just feel that the team needs to go back to DC. That's where they're from. That's where they should play. It has Washington in the name. It's just, the problem is the money and the problem is politics and who's going to pay for the stadium. Dan Snyder, in my opinion, will probably be selling the team by the end of next year because of whatever the findings are happening. And if he wants to do something good and leave his legacy on it, he should just move back to DC, pay for the stadium, and ride off into the sunset.
See, I don't think he's going to sell the team willfully. He might get forced out here at some point.
Well, that's
it'd take 3/4 of the owners to vote him out. That might happen at some point, but he's definitely not going to pay for a stadium. That he's a cheapskate. That's not going to happen. I like them moving to DC, and I would like it to be on the RFK site. The problem is that's federal land. I put out a tweet to JP Finley here that Denver is so awesome as a city because you've got all three of the major sports teams right in the middle of downtown. Like you really can't beat that. To have all three teams there, like within walking distance. The Mile High Stadium is right there downtown. Ball Arena is right there too. It's a really cool setup. And I've been to other cities where that's the case as well. Phoenix has it like that. Out in Glendale, you've got the football stadium, which is, if you've never been, it's an awesome looking stadium. And then baseball stadium is right there next to it. And then the basketball arena is right there too. It makes sense. They're Washington, it's their team, so it would make sense to have all the teams. We got the Nats downtown too. The Wizards are there in Chinatown. It'd be cool to have the Commanders right there too. But that one's the longest shot due to the hurdles not being land, the RFK site being federal land. There's just no space to put the team right now with those things being the case.
That's why it's kind of crazy. It's like you would like to see the shot of the Washington Monument when they're zooming in to be like, okay, here's where the Commanders are playing, and to see the fans and to see all that in the backdrop. And Sterling, you can't really do that. If they do go to Sterling, you can't really do that. You can't do that in Woodbridge or Dumfries. And I don't know why they even said Woodbridge or Dumfries at the end of the day. Like and like FedEx is a horrible stadium. It's horrible. It was
horrible when it was built.
Yeah, it was one of the worst stadiums ever. Like RFK is better than that. Here nor there. It's just traffic wise. Try to get out of the stadium is horrible. Fan experience is horrible. The tailgating is what you make of it. Like you as a fan make it better because you're there with your family, your friends, you're eating, you're enjoying with other fans. But all in all, there's no real fan experience in that stadium if you've ever been to FedEx. And it's not like...
No, it's a very sterile atmosphere. You don't get that game day feel inside the stadium. I'm sure the tailgating is fine. Tailgating is what it is. When you're in the stadium, it doesn't have that atmosphere that other places like a Mile High Stadium has. When you're in Denver, when you're in that stadium, you're at a big event. You get that. It's kind of like a college football game.
Breaking news.
What's up?
Spurs have agreed to contract buyout for Thomas Satoransky for clearing the way for him to sign a deal with the Wizards.
No way.
Yeah, I just got it right now. On ESPN.
We both said that too, that we would like them to bring him back, and they are. He played last night.
Dude, if that happens,
that's great.
That's crazy.
That's some nice breaking news there. That will help the Wizards out a great deal. That's the piece that they're missing for them to make a run this season is size in the backcourt. Their point guards, both guys that they have, Ish and Neto, they're both small guys. So having that height, Satoransky's 6'7", a 6'7" point guard, that's going to help them out a lot. I love that. That's awesome. And I'm glad it broke during the show too. That's great news.
4 minutes ago. I mean, I just got the message right. So now we got to stop this talk and go back to the NBA now. Now the Wizards are in a predicament now, right? You have Ish, Neto, Thomas Satoransky, and you have Danny who can play point, right? You have to start Thomas. You have to start Sato right away because
Right away, I don't know if they'll start him right away because I don't know what his minutes have been like in San Antonio. If he's been playing though, he will come in and start right away.
Well,
as long as his conditioning is there, as
Yeah,
long as
'cause-
his conditioning is there, he's going to start.
Yeah, because he played in Chicago before he got traded.
Yeah.
So at the, I mean, he probably rode the bench for the Spurs for not that long though, because the trade deadline was a couple of weeks ago. I would think they might ease him into it, but if he's ready to play, I don't see why not. I mean, wow,
He
dang.
hasn't really been playing. And he played last night 9 minutes, but in the games before that, he hadn't been playing. But I feel like if they feel his conditioning is there though,
Mhm.
I'm starting him. I'm biased. I've always liked him.
Yep.
I like him. I think they have to start him, and that's going to help them out a lot.
Oh, yeah, because now this is crazy, man. Like, because we actually called this
We
in our
did.
previous show. We're
Yeah.
like, if they can get Thomas Satoransky, they should do it. And
Yeah.
I think Beal had something to do with this too. I think Beal kind of put something in Tommy Shepard's ear because Beal played with Sato a couple of years ago. And when John Wall went down, Thomas Satoransky was their point guard for a stretch of a while. That's where Beal started getting his 20 points, 30 points. So
Yeah, that's sweet. That makes me happy. That makes me
Yeah.
think that they can make it into the playing game at least.
And I have to say this, on the day you announced that we were on Spotify, look what happened.
Yep. Breaking news. Breaking news whenever it feels like breaking.
news. Wow. This changes the Wizards dynamics. Now you have to say that they can push for the playoffs.
They can. Because like I said, that's what they were missing is their backcourt is so small, but now
Mhm.
they've got some height there. So
Yeah, and he can go inside too. I mean, and he can shoot. So he's improved over the years that he can play. And I think he's still young. So I think he's
he's 30.
he's 30 now. Wow. Well,
But that's,
I mean,
for
that's
what they
it.
need him to do, that's not going to matter.
no.
They just what they need is his size on the defensive end in the backcourt. From a
Yeah.
ball handling standpoint, you still got the smaller guys, and he can even start with him being 6'7". He's somebody like you can't start Ish and Neto together because they're both too short. You
Mhm.
can't start him with one of those guys though, and that makes up for that lack of size in the backcourt. I
Mhm.
think this is an underrated move. It might
Yeah.
fly under the NBA radar. This move helps them a great deal.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that they pulled this trigger that fast to buy him out the contract too. I
Yeah.
mean, usually like that, but it's like he was there for about 2 weeks, and he's like, "I'm going back to DC."
I kind of expected that when the move happened. I think we both mentioned that there's just they've got backcourt depth there. No names, but they've got young guys there, and they're not really in need. So
No.
it's not
I'm
surprising
surprised.
that they're
I'm
buying them out.
surprised the Spurs even signed him too. But you know,
It was a
maybe
trade. It was a trade. So that's just moving contracts around, making things
Yeah.
match up.
Yeah, but hey, wow, that's great. Now let's let's jump back into the NFL.
Yeah.
So there's been talks about Mitchell Trubisky, and I'm going to be kind of frank, is that I never really considered him to come to the Commanders because of his deal with Buffalo, and I thought he may go to Pittsburgh, but in the last couple of weeks, last couple of days, there's been steam coming around that he may come to like the Commanders may make a move for him. And I've been like, I wasn't a big fan of Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, he was a decent quarterback. He was good. And I saw some of I was trying to look at his games from last couple of years ago when he was with the Bears, and to see would this move make sense for the Commanders to make? And I put it this way, he's better than Heineke, but I think Heineke can beat him out in preseason. So at the end of the day, what are you really getting? Are you getting, even though people say, I asked a friend of mine who's a huge Chicago Bears, he's like, he just got the raw end of the deal in Chicago, and he had 1 year under, the Buffalo Bills. But if you're going to come to Washington, it's a different system. So how is he going to fit in Scott Turner's system? And is the quarterback's coach that much better than what Josh Allen is a special talent? So you don't really have to tell Josh Allen to do this or do that. He already has it built in him. If you have to work on Mitchell Trubisky and then get a quarterback, that's going to be tough. And to have him and Heineke in competition, I think he's a glorified Heineke, because he can get you where you need to get to, but he doesn't make the mistakes that Heineke makes. So is it really an improvement? I don't think it is. So you're back at square one again. And to get a quarterback in the draft, especially a first round draft, I don't think this team should do that. I think they should just go out for a savvy veteran, like a one that can fit the system, because Scott Turner runs a system. And to have him run that system, you need that. And then draft the quarterback in the second or third round and get your maybe another, as you said, another wide receiver in the first round to help Terry. Or I'll say a quarterback, get a CB to have a lockdown, you got a lockdown corner. But I don't think they should even go after Trubisky. I think it's just going to be another waste of money and another waste of another year just looking for your franchise quarterback.
I like going after Trubisky, especially if it's on a deal that's friendly. I like his talent, his arm, and mobility. His mobility, from a mobility standpoint, strictly, he's right there with Heineke, same level as far as that goes. But arm talent, I think his arm is 2 times as good as Heineke's.
Mhm.
So I think if it came down to a camp competition between the two, I don't think Heineke would have any sort
Mhm.
of. I don't think he had a chance. He would have a chance against Trubisky in camp, just because Trubisky's arm is so much better. I think the only problem I see with bringing in Trubisky is I don't think he's a good fit for Turner's system at all.
Mhm.
If Turner would tailor his system to Trubisky's strengths, then I think that would be a good move. But coordinators don't usually do that. They try to make players fit their scheme. What Trubisky will be best at is in a Shanahan style scheme where they're utilizing rollouts and bootlegs, play action, stuff like that, and then a zone blocking scheme too, which Turner doesn't run. If he would just throw in rollouts and bootlegs and play action into his scheme more, then that will help Trubisky out a lot. Getting him on the move to make throws, he's good at that stuff. He's actually great at it. In
Mhm.
Chicago, when he did those things, he looked amazing. His arm is very good. He can be a good quarterback in this league in the right system. It's just I don't know if Washington can be that. I don't know if Turner's going to be flexible and make that happen. A guy I will be more interested in bringing in is Jimmy G. He might be expensive because they have to trade for him. If they have to trade for him, I'm not interested in that either. Another guy that has been thrown out there is Carson Wentz. And again, in the right scheme, he can be a good quarterback if he learns how to. First of all, he needs to learn how to get out of his own way, just run the play. I don't know if he's there yet. He likes to play hero ball. That doesn't work in the NFL, not from a guy like him. If Turner feels like they can bring in a quarterback coach who can fix him, that's a move I'd be more interested in making because he's going to be free. They're going to cut him, and so you don't have to trade for him. You have to give up anything. He might be on a 1 year prove it deal. If you can do something like that with him, then I'm in on that. Something cheap, low risk deal. Why not, to see if you can salvage him?
Yeah, I mean, if I have to go for Jimmy, I prefer Jimmy G. If I have to trade, I'll probably trade for Jimmy G. If I have to trade for Jimmy G,
You
I'll
would
give
have to
up
trade for him. They're not just going to cut him.
Yeah,
They'd rather just keep him.
Yeah, I'll trade Deron Payne. I mean, heck, I'll trade Deron Payne, get him out, and then with their first, and I'll probably trade maybe a 3rd round pick, and then maybe give who else, maybe throw in some other extra personnel, who knows, and then
I think they're expecting a 1st round pick in return because he's a starting quarterback.
that's true. I mean,
And Deron Payne, I would only trade him if he's still unhappy. He was unhappy during the fight. I don't know if
Right.
that simmered down. If he's calmed down and he's fine now, then you look at maybe giving him a contract.
Yeah.
I don't know what that situation's all about.
so
but
I mean,
I'm not sure of the ins and outs of that one.
See, the thing is, when you show toxicity in the open, it's bad. If you do it behind closed doors, it's okay because no one knows. But people can talk about it, but we don't see it, right? So we can speculate, and you can see, oh, my source told me this, and their brothers, whatever. But when you do it on national TV, everybody sees you, and doesn't matter how frustrated you are, you can shout, you can scream, but you never put your hands on nobody. And unfortunately, he did that.
Yeah, so assuming he's still salty, I'd look at moving him too.
Yeah, I mean, if they're still salty, I'll move him because that's bad in the locker room. It's toxic. Because again, if he does it, he may even come to real blows. Luckily, Jonathan Allen didn't connect. He just did one of those little brush off punches. He got angry, but but I think it was just a whole season kind of with all the turmoil kind of maybe just built up, and it exploded. But there's ways to explode. I mean, yes, it's easier said than done. I completely understand that, but you can, if you can get a player like Jimmy G, would you trade a first round pick for Jimmy G? Let me ask
No,
you that. I
no.
probably wouldn't, but
The Commanders aren't in a position to do that. Other teams
Mhm.
might be, but they have needs that I don't think they can give up the first round
Mhm.
pick to bring in a guy like that, especially since there are other options.
Right.
A second round pick, sure. I will
Yeah.
give that up to get him. A second round pick and other picks too. I'd be willing to do that. With the first pick they need, they have a real need at receiver. They have a
Mhm.
real need at linebacker. So that's too valuable a pick to give up for Jimmy G right now.
Yeah, and I also feel that like if they need a quarterback, if Trubisky is the only valuable option that's a team friendly option, you have to make him the starter. You cannot have a competition going into the camp because that's how he got treated in Chicago. So
I'd be okay with the competition because I know that he'll win it. So
mm,
I'd
I
be
mean,
okay with that.
I mean, for me, I don't want any more like I don't want any more of this, oh, Heineke noise or Trubisky. No. I just want to say starter is starter. And at
True.
the end of the
But
day,
I wouldn't worry about Heineke beating anybody out. I don't think he would.
I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, when Fitzpatrick was healthy, he actually did beat out Heineke. So,
Exactly.
but now is Fitz done with the Commanders? Is he moving on, or is he coming back? Or I haven't heard any news on that. Have
Fairly
you heard?
certain, 99% sure he was on a 1 year deal. I haven't heard any talk of him retiring, but I don't think that they'll give him another deal. He'll probably be somewhere
Yeah.
as a backup next season.
See, I really wanted Fitz to play one full year to see what. See, this is the problem, man. It's like it's all these what ifs. What if Alex Smith didn't get injured? What if Fitzpatrick didn't get injured?
Yeah.
Like it's just like
I would have liked to have seen what he could have done. I've always been a fan, even in
me
his
too.
down years. I just like the guy.
Yeah,
Not necessarily even the quarterback. I just like the guy. I would have liked to see him succeed in
yeah.
Washington, but like you
I
said, it's a
mean,
what if.
I'll put it this way: he's made his money. He has a lot of
No
money.
question about that.
I mean, everywhere he went from Buffalo to Miami, I mean, he has generational wealth that he does not care about.
Yeah.
But now for Denver, like it's funny because people are saying I heard on the I think it was on the Junkies or on 106.7 The Fan. I'll put it. There was a beat writer, I forgot his name, saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to still be in Green Bay. He's not moving. He's not going to Denver. He's not going anywhere because Green Bay made it a point to hire people who he likes. So I'm like kind of confused now because like, well, then what's the reason? What is his back and forth going? Is he just playing a cat and mouse game just to get attention and say, see you guys later, I'm going to Denver? What were your thoughts? That's why I wanted to get your pick on it because
Well,
it
he's
seems
always
kind
trying to get attention. There's no question about that part.
of
But there is a 0% chance he ends up in Green Bay next season. He's not
zero.
going to be in Green Bay. The
Mm,
chances he lands in Denver, I'd put that at 95%. I'll leave a little margin for error there, but I fully expect him to be in Denver next year.
mhm.
Denver has the cap room to sign him. He wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the league by a wide margin, were his words. The Packers can't do that. They're already over the cap. If they try to bring him back, they can't. They definitely can't bring back Devontae Adams. So
Yeah.
why would he want to be there without him? Who can you name another
So
receiver in the Packers?
no. So are they
Randall
going to
Cobb,
lose
maybe.
two? Are they going to lose Devontae and Aaron Rodgers next year? Or are they going to lose or one?
No, because if they not bringing back Aaron Rodgers, they can sign Devontae Adams
Gotcha.
and then make other moves to make sure they're under the cap. But
Mhm.
there's no way they can have them both. So
Yeah.
that means Aaron Rodgers is not going back there. Denver
Gotcha.
already has a solid receiving core. They
Mhm.
might have the room to also bring in Adams. So he's going to be here. I'm not entertaining other people, the crap that they're saying about, well, there's a
Mhm.
list of teams. Diana Rossini came on and said there's a list of teams and Washington's not on it.
Right. Yeah.
I don't care about the list. The list is one. He's going to be here in Denver. And don't be mistaken. Don't think that I'm saying that because that's what I want. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that they need him to be a good team next season. I just think they need a quarterback,
Mhm.
somebody not named Drew Lock. And there's like the fanboys. Drew Lock has fanboys here who are still trying to hype him up and say that with the right coach and scheme and all that he can be the guy still. I don't believe that for a second. I don't like him. I don't think he'll work in any scheme. I don't think he's a good quarterback. So I think they'll be moving on from that. Who they have here, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or other, I think they're going to go up. They're going to be pursuing. They're going to be the hottest team in the free agent QB market. Going out, not free agent, but the guys who'll be available, like Russell Wilson,
Mhm.
Deshaun Watson, who I also don't like.
Mhm.
But they're going to land the number one QB, whoever it is. So
Now, where would Russell Wilson land? There's been rumblings that he might come to Washington, but I don't think Washington's going to pick him. I think he's going to go maybe even to a Houston or somewhere where, or even to, they're saying New York, but New York's looking at someone else. So, I mean, if they may even, I mean, knowing how the Giants played, like the GM, they may even go after Jimmy G, trade their first round for him. And, so where do you think like Russell Wilson will land? Because that's going to be the second hot topic in this coming off season.
I could see him landing somewhere like Pittsburgh, Miami, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I
Uh,
was thinking, yeah,
Teams that aren't even on the real radar yet for him.
right.
But Miami is a big market for what his wife wants to do and all that. I
Yeah.
have to put Washington back in the mix on it, not as a
Mhm.
favorite, but just in the mix, just because of his local ties. But that's really it. The team I don't
Right.
think would be the best fit for him. The
Right.
scheme I don't think would be a good fit for him. But when you get a guy like that, that's a guy you fix your scheme to fit.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's like the shiny toy that you always want, and you have a glance of getting it. But it's like, do I want to save the money and use it somewhere else, right? Because if you get the Russell Wilson, it automatically puts you in the Super Bowl talks, right? It automatically puts you into that. Oh, we can actually win a Super Bowl with him.
yeah, it
But
does.
the question begs to differ is, how far along is his, like, can he play quarterback, right? Is he going to play 3 years, 4? You have to give him a long-term deal. And the Commanders have a lot of cap to sign people. They have a lot of money to sign it, because you have to sign Terry, you have to sign I mean, they're going to let Sheriff walk, because
Yeah.
even if they do try to,
That's pretty much a done deal.
so if I were them, I would trade Sheriff, because Cincinnati's looking for.
He's the free agent. So
Oh, that's right. He is a free. God, we had the chance to trade him, but we didn't. That was our mistake. But he was too much of a fit, and they offered him a boatload of money. So I don't know what his deal is. I mean, great player, but I think he's getting some bonehead advice. So,
well, I'm sure the advice he's getting is you can get paid elsewhere and maybe have more success from a wins and
that's
loss
true.
standpoint.
Yeah.
Especially if he goes to Cincinnati,
That's
that
that-
move alone can put them back in the mix as a contender next season.
yeah, he may even win a ring.
Yeah, because I would expect them to make that move and then another move to shore up that offensive line as well. He would help a lot, but I still think one more move puts them back. If they make 2 moves to shore up that line, I would put them as the favorite in the AFC next season.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Because they needed because Sheriff plays, I think, right guard, right? He plays right guard.
He could play either spot. Wherever they have a need, he could do it.
He could. So that's the thing, because Cincinnati needs a guard and a tackle. So, because they got demolished.
Yeah.
So if they can solidify that right side first, I mean, boy, as you said. But that's the thing, though, right? Like, if you're going to sign Russell Wilson, and that goes back to the question is, are you going to sign for a 5-year, like what, $100 million contract?
If he would entertain coming to Washington, he's one of those guys I give whatever he wants. If he wants a 10-year deal, I don't care if he plays it out. I'm giving him that because that's what he wants. To get that level of quarterback talent, you acquiesce to his needs. You give him whatever he wants. If he wants to bring a player with him, you do that too.
Yeah.
And there aren't many guys I would say that for. I wouldn't do that for Aaron Rodgers, but
Right.
Russell Wilson is the top 3 QB. So I'm doing that for him.
That's true. And also because I think he does fit Scott Turner's system, is because now Scott can call the plays that he couldn't call with Heineke or anybody else.
Yeah.
Even with Josh Allen. So,
and like I said, you make your system fit that guy. For an elite quarterback,
so
I don't care what your system is. You call the plays he wants.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you can sign Terry to a 5-year, let's say $50 million contract, and then
for Terry, that's not enough. Once his deal is up, he's gonna garner in the 20 million range per season. Because he's a top tier receiver.
So what, 90 million? 90 million for 5?
It might somewhere around there.
Yeah, because because I'm thinking because there were talks about signing him this offseason so that you get that done with. You don't have to worry about that going into the season. So I would say he's going to back 80 to 90 million easily. Even maybe in the 95s, in the mid 90s. So if you get Terry signed, I think, and I think they do have, see, that's where I think we kind of differ with the receivers is I feel that we do have a decent receiving core. It's just that we don't have the quarterback to get them the ball. Even though I liked Heineke in certain situations, I think he was a bit late on reading reads. And there were receivers that were open for like a split-second window that if we had, like, let's say, a Russell Wilson or even a Mitchell Trubisky, they would have gotten him that ball, So,
and you think that because of Curtis Samuel, and that I wouldn't argue that if I knew I could count on him. Knowing he's an unknown, I can't go into next season. You can't stake everything on expecting to have him.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like the first round pick is if you can get if the best. See, I wouldn't draft a quarterback in the first round. I love Malik Williams. I love him, but he's a work in progress. He's like a project, and I don't want his career to fail to coming to Washington because his talent far exceeds Lamar Jackson, far exceeds Patrick Mahomes. And yes, I'm saying that right now. If he goes to a proper team, he's going to be the next big deal. Like he's going to be that next quarterback in line to compete with these quarterbacks or even better because he has that talent and he just needs a better team to it. If we get Russell Wilson and he falls to the second or third round, let's say, I will say get him just because Russell Wilson will be a great mentor. If you don't have a great mentor at that position, I would not draft anybody else. I'm sorry, it's just that, and I would agree with you. If the receiver is the best receiver in the 11th pick in the draft in the first round, you get that person.
Yeah, and I don't expect Malik Willis to fall out of the first round. So if I'm them, I don't pick a quarterback in the first round. I would expect him to go higher than their pick. I think their need is receiver. Outside of that, if he's there though, a project or not, I gotta take him. I said that before, but he's not a guy you expect to come in and start right away by any means, even with him being a higher first round pick. I think he does need some development behind a veteran. Bring in Trubisky, draft him if you can. If not, use a receiver. Use that pick for a receiver, like I've been saying.
Yeah. So I would say this though, if I think on our next show we should just do like the first round to see like who's in the number one pick, who would they choose, and to see and compare that to the actual the draft, because I think that'd be pretty cool if we have it up and kind of go side by side to be like, oh, like we did this right. That'd be pretty cool to see, minus all the trades and all that craziness that goes on, but we can just at least try to see, like, because I just feel that with all this hoopla and noise going around, people are forgetting how to kind of build what the team really needs. Like because we talk about the Commanders now. If you look at Denver, they're pretty solid in everything they have. They just need a quarterback to take them over that hump. So in the draft position that they're in, who do you want to draft? Like a running back, maybe?
No, they're set there. The only thing I can think of that they need, they don't have much depth at linebacker. So if they drafted a guy that they could start at linebacker, that'd be fine. From there, their offense is pretty solid. They could maybe later on in the draft, they could draft some more linemen to shore that part of the ball up. But their line is good too. They're all around, they're a solid team. Their draft needs are just depth, really. Their receiving core is solid. They just need a quarterback. And I forget what pick they have, how are they going to be picking. But if they can get a Malik Willis, sweet. But their defensive coordinator has already come out and said that he doesn't expect to change up many things from Fangio's scheme, which means their defense is going to be solid next year.
They play a 4-3 or a 3-4 or a hybrid?
I believe they play a 4-3.
Excuse me.
Might be lying.
Because
bless you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Wow. Because if they play because now, do you think Von Miller might come back?
I haven't really seen that thrown out there, and I don't see any sort of there's no smoke or fire with regard to that happening. I think he wants to stay in LA. I think all those guys kind of want to run it back out there, but he's a free agent, so anything can happen. If the Broncos throw money at him, who knows? Might come
Yeah.
back home. That'd be
Yeah,
sweet.
Because I feel that like I think they're one and done. I think it was a super team. They got it together.
All those guys are talking about like making the money work to run it back. Aaron Donald wants to do it. Odell Beckham wants to do it. With all them guys wanting to do that, it's realistic. As long as they're willing to make the money work, they could do it.
So the reason why I'm saying, I mean, fine and all right, like what Mr. Morris said, that it was like one play here or there that could have not even, we weren't even talking about the Rams, right?
That's solely on the quarterback.
That's what I was going to get to.
Maybe the Super Bowl experience changed how he'll play. Maybe.
Because Stafford is Stafford. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can teach him how to jump. You can't teach him how to jump too high. Like, I just feel that we know what he's going to do, and he just got lucky because he just had so much talent around him. And him and Cooper, if it wasn't for Cooper Kupp, I don't think they would have won that game, and the defense. Because if he didn't pass to Cooper Kupp, there would be no opportunity for the defense to come up and stop Joe Burrow. So I just feel that next year teams are going to key on certain things that the Rams do and kind of shut out certain things and be like, you know what? We're going to double Cooper Kupp, even though he'll get his 100 yards, but we're not going to make him get the big play. Like, defenses now are going to probably adapt to what the Rams have done in the Super, because it's a copycat league, right? So they're going to see what everybody has done, and there's going to be one defensive quarterback. Like, you know what? I want to do something different. I want to take out Cooper Kupp and make the other receivers beat us.
Yeah, and it's so hard to repeat that. That's not something I would bet on them being back there next season,
right.
Whether they have the same roster back or not.
Right.
But if all those guys are willing to take pay cuts to come back, that shows a real desire to win at all costs. You know, the NFL careers are so short that if you're willing to sacrifice money to do it,
yeah.
I would be willing to throw $1 on them repeating if all the guys are just all in like that. That says a lot.
It does. And nothing against that. It's just that I just feel that, like, they're not a team like, oh, they're definitely going to go back to the Super Bowl next year. Like, they're definitely, I can pretty much say the Cincinnati Bengals, they showed me something this year that I did not foresee at all. So to me, I'm like, they may actually go further than what people expect them to do. And KC, I think, is on the downtrend. I mean, yeah, they may be, because now everybody around them are getting better. The teams are getting better. The Raiders are getting better.
They are, and they've got a good situation there overall right now.
Yep.
I really like what they're doing. They're going to make some noise in the division, but if Denver gets Aaron Rodgers, I expect them to win the division. Just because the team is so good around them. It's not because of him. It's just that they're missing a quarterback. And though he's a game manager, that's what they need. They need somebody to come in and manage the game. Drew Lock is a turnover machine, so he can't do that. But Aaron Rodgers can. The Chargers are another team that they should be dangerous next season.
Yeah. Yeah. And people are forgetting about the Chargers too. They just had the luck of the straw this year. And I think Herbert's going to prove himself again. And it's going to be fun, man.
That division is going to be one to watch.
Yeah. And I think the NFL, like, with all the problems that we have with the Shield, they do put out a product for us.
It's entertaining.
It is entertaining, right? As they say, talent trumps all things. So if you see good football, you see good football.
That's why, even though I know what they're doing with the shady refs and all that stuff, I know that they're doing it all for the Shield. And like I said, we keep watching because it is entertainment. It's entertaining. No question about that.
So it's getting to the time where we need to say salute and say salutations and say thank you so much for joining our show. It's almost 1:00 over here
almost 11 here.
It's almost 11 over in Colorado. I just want to thank my brother so much for it was a great surprise to tell that we were on Spotify now.
We are a podcast.
We are officially a podcast. And to say thank you to Dale again for his hard work to make us to where we are in the Twitterverse. All I have to say is Joe B liked our tweet.
Yep. Yeah, Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, we're just going to keep going. We're going to keep going, keep growing. I hope with us being a podcast now, I know it's harder to listen to a YouTube video while you're driving, but with us being a podcast, if you're driving around one day, nothing's on the radio, weekend or whatever, just pop us on, give us a shot. We're pretty entertaining, if I do say so myself. Harish he brings it every week, and so just listening to him alone, I think we're entertaining enough. Just give us a shot, spread the word. We're trying to grow this thing. Hit us up on Twitter if you want to join in with us. We'll take calls. I get tweets here and there debating quarterbacks and all that stuff. If one of y'all want to jump in with us, y'all know who I'm talking about. Just jump in, and if you don't like our opinion, jump on and debate us. I'm open-minded. You might be able to sway me, but I don't think Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. So if somebody wants to debate me on that, I've been getting some heat on that on Twitter. Jump on. I want to shout out the Commandalorian. He followed us on Twitter. He's gonna paint his little Boba Fett helmet in Washington colors, so that'll be cool. I posted a picture with my Mandalorian helmet too, so shout him out. Spread the word, Commandalorian, get the Washington fan base to support us, and just help us grow this thing. We're gonna keep doing it though, no matter what. We'll be here.
Yep, and thank you guys for all the support, and follow us on Spotify now. As Dale was saying, we're on Spotify.
Subscribe on all mediums. We're out there.
Yep. So now there's no reason for this. Hey, we don't know where you are because we're on all 3 platforms.
Spotify, YouTube, Twitter.
Yep. Yes, and we're trying to get our Instagram up slowly and trying to get that out of the way so we can get people on there to point to this show. But we're slowly growing. We're learning as we're going on. So as I always say, peace and love, and thanks to everybody for a wonderful Saturday, and thank you for joining us.
Thank y'all very much. Talking Hats, we are out.